The house is paid off. That's what I worked for. 43 years at the same company. Every mortgage payment on time. Never missed one. The deed has my name on it. Robert Mitchell, free and clear. I'm sitting here looking at it. The deed. It's in a folder on the table next to cold coffee I made this morning and forgot to drink. I'm 85. The house is quiet in a way that makes you notice sounds you never heard before. The refrigerator hum, the settling of floorboards, my own breathing. I thought owning this house meant I'd done it right. I was wrong about what right meant. When Claire and I bought this place in 1967, it needed everything. New roof, new plumbing. The kitchen cabinets hung crooked. I told her I'd fix it all, make it perfect. I meant it as a promise. She heard it as one too. I spent every weekend for 2 years working on this house, ripping out walls, replacing pipes, sanding floors until my hands cramped. Claire would bring me sandwiches, stand in the doorway watching me work. She'd say, "Come sit with me for a bit." I'd say, "After I finish this section." I always had one more section. I worked at Patterson Manufacturing, floor supervisor. Good benefits, steady pay. When they offered me management, I took it. More money, more hours. I told Claire it meant Jennifer could go to that better school, meant Michael could have braces, meant we could finally get the heating system that actually worked. She nodded, said that sounded good. I don't remember her face when she said it. Just that she nodded. The management job meant evening meetings, weekend inventory checks. I'd come home at 9, 10 at night, dinner wrapped in foil on the stove, the kids already in bed. I'd eat standing up in the kitchen, looking at their drawings on the refrigerator, spelling tests with gold stars. I'd think, I'm doing this for them. That thought made the cold meatloaf taste like sacrifice, like love. On Saturdays, I'd work in the garage, building things, fixing things. Jennifer needed a bookshelf for her room. Michael wanted a treehouse. I made a list, worked through it methodically. Claire would come out sometimes, sit on the old folding chair I kept out there. She'd talk about her week, about how Jennifer's teacher said she was struggling with math, about how Michael had gotten in a fight at school, about how her mother wasn't doing well. I'd sand wood while she talked, nod at the right moments, make sounds that meant I was listening. I was listening to the grain of the wood, to the sound of the sandpaper, to the plan in my head for cutting the angles right. She'd eventually stop talking, go back inside. I'd finish whatever I was building, bring it in later, put it in Jennifer's room or Michael's room while they were asleep. In the morning, they'd see it, say thanks, use it for a while. I thought that was the conversation. The bookshelf, the tree house, the things I built. I thought objects could say what I couldn't. Jennifer had a school play when she was 9. Something about animals. She was a rabbit. Had to hop around and say 3 lines. She came home with the flyer 3 weeks before. Circled the date in red marker. Put it on the refrigerator. I looked at it every morning getting coffee. The week of the play, Patterson had a problem with the shipment. Missing parts. Angry client. I had to handle it. Stay late. Make calls. Fix it. Play was on a Thursday, 7 p.m. I left work at 6:30, hit traffic, pulled into the school parking lot at 7:40. The play was over. Parents were leaving. I saw Claire walking out with Jennifer, Michael trailing behind them. Jennifer was still wearing her rabbit ears, crooked on her head. I got out of the car, walked over. Claire looked at me, didn't say anything. Jennifer said, "You missed it." I said, "I know, I'm sorry. Work was crazy." She said, "Okay," and got in the car. I drove us home. Nobody talked. I tried to explain about the shipment.
The client. How if I didn't fix it, we could have lost the account. Claire said, "It's fine." But her voice had that flatness, that sound like a door closing quietly. Jennifer never mentioned the play again. I told myself she understood, that kids bounce back, that she knew I was working hard for her. Years later, when she was grown, she mentioned something in passing about how she'd looked for me in the audience, how she'd messed up her lines because she kept looking. She laughed when she said it, like it was a funny memory. I didn't laugh. That was 30 years ago. I still see those crooked rabbit ears. Michael stopped asking me to throw the ball around when he was 12. I hadn't noticed when the asking slowed down. When it went from every day to once a week to not at all. One Saturday, I came out of the garage, saw him in the yard by himself, throwing a tennis ball against the side of the house, catching it, throwing it again. I almost walked over, almost said, "Want to toss it around?" But I had the measurements wrong on a cabinet, had to recut the wood, couldn't waste the lumber. I went back inside the garage. Through the window, I watched him throw that ball for an hour. He joined the military at 18, came home for holidays. We'd shake hands. He'd ask how I was. I'd ask how the service was treating him. We ran out of words after about 5 minutes. Still do. Claire kept working at the library after the kids left. I retired at 65. Thought we'd finally have time. Do the things we'd always talked about doing. Except we hadn't talked about anything in years. Not really. I didn't know what she liked anymore, what she thought about, what she wanted. I'd ask her what she wanted for dinner. She'd say she didn't care. I'd make something. We'd eat it watching television. Two people living in the same house, like roommates who'd run out of lease. I'd sit in my chair. She'd sit in hers. We'd watch game shows, crime dramas, whatever was on. Sometimes I'd look over at her, try to think of something to say, but I'd been quiet so long I didn't know how to start. She got sick 4 years ago. Pancreatic cancer, the kind that moves fast. Suddenly I had something to do again. Appointments to manage, medications to organize, insurance to navigate. I was good at that. At handling logistics, at making lists and checking boxes. I drove her to every treatment, sat in every waiting room, brought her home and made her soup she couldn't eat. I did everything right, everything the doctor said, everything the nurses suggested. What I didn't do was ask her if she was scared. I didn't hold her hand unless she needed help walking. I didn't tell her I was terrified of losing her. I thought taking care of the logistics was the same as taking care of her. Near the end, she was in the hospital bed we'd set up in the living room. Too weak to go upstairs anymore. I was sitting next to her. 3 a.m, couldn't sleep. She opened her eyes, looked at me in the dark. She said, "Robert." I said, "I'm here." She said, "I know you tried. That's all." Then she closed her eyes again. She died 6 days later. I know you tried, not I love you. Not thank you, not I'm glad we had this life. I know you tried, like I'd taken a test and gotten partial credit. After the funeral, everyone left. Jennifer back to Seattle. Michael back to North Carolina. The neighbors stopped bringing casseroles. I was alone in this house I'd spent 40 years paying for, fixing, maintaining, every room perfect. Fresh paint, no leaks, everything works, empty. I walk through it some days, look at the furniture we bought together, the curtains she picked out, the pictures on the wall from when the kids were small. I don't remember the moments in those pictures. I remember that I was probably at work when they were taken. The house is worth $300,000 now, maybe more. The real estate agent I talked to said it's in great shape, well maintained. I thought that mattered. The maintenance, the value, the investment. But you can't have dinner with a house. You can't tell a house you're scared. A house doesn't care if you're there or not. I see my kids twice a year, Christmas and Thanksgiving. They come for a few days. We make conversation about weather, about their jobs, about grandkids I barely know. They're polite, loving even. They call me Dad. They hug me when they leave. But we're strangers. Friendly strangers who share last names and old photos. Because I thought being their father meant providing for them. I thought love was measured in square footage and college funds and dental work. I didn't know it was measured in hours, in presence, in showing up for rabbit costumes and ball games, and the 1,000 small moments that make a person feel seen. I gave them everything except myself, and myself was what they needed. I sit here now, 85 years old, in a house that's paid off, worth something on paper, empty in every way that matters. The coffee's cold, has been for hours. I should pour it out, make fresh. But I'm looking at the deed instead. My name in black ink, proof of ownership, proof I did what I set out to do. I bought the house. I lost the home. That's the cost no one tells you about. The cost of being strong, of being responsible, of being the man who handles everything and needs nothing. You get exactly what you worked for. The roof that doesn't leak, the floors that don't creak, the bank account that's comfortable, and you get silence. The kind that presses on your chest at 3 a.m. when you wake up and remember you're the only person here. I thought I was building something. Security, stability, a foundation. I was. Just not the kind that matters. The house will outlive me. It's solid, well built, good bones. When I'm gone, Jennifer and Michael will sell it, split the money, use it for their own lives. Maybe they'll remember growing up here. Maybe they'll remember the bookshelf I built, the treehouse, the perfect cabinets. Maybe they'll remember I tried, but they won't remember me. Not really, because I never let them know me. I kept everything inside. Thought that was strength. Thought that was love. It was fear. Fear that if I stopped moving, stopped working, stopped building, I'd have to sit still and feel everything I was avoiding. Fear that if I said I needed them, I'd be weak. So I built walls instead of bridges, worked instead of connected, fixed things instead of fixing us. And now I have this, a perfect house, an empty life. I'm not telling you this because I figured it out in time. I didn't. I'm telling you because I'm sitting here looking at the deed to a house worth $300,000, and I traded all for one more dinner where someone asked me about my day, and I actually answered. But there's no one left to ask, just me, and the quiet, and this piece of paper that says I won.